For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Could we have a record number of challenges to the electoral results come the island's next general election? Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, NewsSpin, on Power 97.9 FM. The broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page, as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. Later, I'll be hearing from you via your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026, and Amanda will be going through some of your comments in the chat room as we welcome you to yet another edition of the broadcast. Is hoping you're having yourself an enjoyable Wednesday. Not a pleasant day for me. My longest work day. Somebody says that, Tim, time zone change. My lunch break is different when it comes to NewsSpin, but I still listen. Can call at work. The person is sending me this message from the diaspora. One gets a sense that general elections will be called during the course of this year. I'm not into predicting the outcome of general elections or when they will be called. As far as the latter, I leave that to the Prime Minister of the day. And I could tell you, not even Philip J. Pierre knows when he will call the elections, the precise date. He has an idea. He's trying to figure it out. That keeps him up at night. He's mulling over the issue, but he's not too sure. It could be the next few months after the St. Jude Hospital is completed or partially completed. It could be during the first quarter of next year, etc. But he's not too sure. But again, I'm getting a sense that on the ground, people are very jittery. And that goes for the politicians, particularly the incumbents. irrespective of us hearing from the Prime Minister that they will win, he's making that prediction, all 7 seats, that is stretching it a bit. Okay, I'm not into predicting the outcome of general elections, as I said early on, but winning all 17 seats, no, I don't think so. The elections can go either way, depending on a number of factors which I will not get into. But here's what I'm sensing. That after the results are known in St. Lucia, there will be a lot of candidates will be going to the courts seeking recounts, seeking the intervention to determine the veracity of the results and whether any actions that were taken by opponents would have affected the results unfairly. And we've had those challenges in St. Lucia. I think you had one particular challenge that's well known in the Babonneau constituency. This is still before the courts. And I've received a number of calls where people have been expressing concern, saying that they get a sense that there are some unfair practices and maybe seemingly illegal practices that are being undertaken in some constituencies, so that persons, for example, from one constituency are registering in a constituency where they have no connection at all, where they do not reside. And those remain allegations, cannot be substantiated, but definitely it should really put the Electoral Department on the alert to ensure that there isn't any illegal activities that is taking place in any of the constituencies that could wrongfully determine the results in an unfair manner, illegal manner at that. So we are already putting the Electoral Department on notice, on the alert in particular. Because I think in the main, our elections have been fair in St. Lucia. And we definitely want it to remain that way. So I came across this post, extracted from the Facebook page of one Ian Cauldron. And if that is a Cauldron that most of us know, he is a supporter of the United Workers' Party. And he writes the elections alert. St. Lucia Labour Party, your desperation to unseat Alan Chastney will be your downfall. Why is it that you're having your supporters from V4 North to change their address and register in Micoud South when they do not reside/live in the Micoud South constituency? All in an effort to pad Labour Party votes in Micoud South in an attempt to unseat Alan Chastney, etc., etc. Again, I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying that either way, if it is done to favor the St. Lucia Labour Party, it should be tackled vigorously by the Electoral Department. And if such practices are aimed at favoring the United Workers' Party, the same should be done. Because otherwise, I'm predicting that definitely the courts will be overwhelmed with electoral challenges with regard to the results of the elections in the island's 17 constituencies, or at least some of them. Incidentally, it was just a few days ago that DBS's Miriam Montoute spoke with the island's chief elections officer, Mr. Herman St. Helen, and he addressed issues ranging from ensuring that we have a clean voters list to the changing from one electoral district to another when individuals do that, and what it requires for one to undertake such an exercise.
I happen to have gotten a document on social media where it was said that somebody from a constituency, a canvasser, gave somebody their ID card and they would change from one electoral district to another. This, to my mind, is not possible, because for something like that to happen, you, the voter, must come into the office with a declaration signed saying that you want to change address. So nobody can just take your ID card and have your address changed.
You just heard there from the island's chief elections officer. So, all and sundry, they need to be on the alert, you, the voters of St. Lucia. Likewise, the chief elections officer and his staff, the Electoral Commission, the respective candidates contesting the elections, whether you're contesting on a ticket of the SLP or the UWP or an independent, and also on the whole, the hierarchy of the SLP as well as the United Workers' Party. All should be on the alert. We want to have a clean and also a fair general election. We continue to hear excuses from the Prime Minister of St. Lucia regarding the failure to deliver on his promise to make this a year of infrastructure. And as far as the dilapidated, deplorable state of our roads is concerned, the Prime Minister is once again putting all the blame on the inclemency of the weather. It's the rain, it's the rain, it's the rain that has caused us to be suffering, having to maneuver pothole after pothole, dilapidated roads, to the extent that, as was clearly seen a few days ago, people had to demonstrate their frustration by blocking a section of the roads over in Roseau. And it was done, I think, somewhere in Dennery North as well. And you think, if St. Lucians were unruly, we can count ourselves. We have a habit of doing illegal things, reckless from time to time, taking the lives of innocent people. But in the main, St. Lucians are peaceful. Otherwise, believe you me, for the better part of 2023, 2024, it would have been mayhem in St. Lucia in terms of people protesting the poor state of our roads. A lot of roads would have been blocked on the island. And so the Prime Minister, delivering the estimates of revenue and expenditure last evening, again cited the rain as a problem, as a reason for not delivering on his promise to ensure that we had roads that could have been navigated on without undue headache, undue hassle.
As I indicated earlier in my presentation, some infrastructural projects from last year were delayed and will continue into this fiscal year 2025-2026. Last year, the rainy weather contributed to delays in road construction and rehabilitation. Mr. Speaker, it is a fact that the slow rate of implementation has been a cause of concern, and efforts to improve implementation will be a priority this year.
Another promise. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre. Let's open the lines right now to take your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026, and momentarily we'll be hearing from Amanda. She'll be going through some of your comments in the chat room. Somebody says that, Tim, good day. My question is this. How can person just give their ID cards on voting day and not show up to actually get their finger dipped in the ink as proof of voting? Another comment, somebody says that our prediction is that the next general elections in St. Lucia will be 2026 between Jazz and Carnival. Our election financing is already in place to support candidates on both sides, not political parties. Don't be surprised if the voters eat out, drink out, and vote out the St. Lucia Labour Party. We have a call via WhatsApp as we say hello. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Amanda.
Good afternoon, caller.
Tim, what you just read there about votes from Beaufort North going to Meekwood South, this is voter dumping. This has been happening years upon years and even more common now in St. Lucia. And I don't think there's anything that the electoral office can do about it.
You think so?
And you think so? You think there's anything they can do? There's nothing they can do. What can they do?
Well,
that would be a
definitely. Well, the outcome of the elections, therefore, normally do not indicate or reveal that it is basically the wishes of the people. If that is the case.
Well, yes. I don't think there's really anything that can be done. Now I heard the controller of the man in electoral office. What's his name? Mr. St. Helen.
Yes.
He said about it's not possible for somebody to take your ID card and go and change it and stuff like that. But last election, I heard a lot of that was done. I heard people were passing around, taking people's ID cards and going with it and all stuff like that. I don't know how it was true, but I heard that was happening last election. And to me, I remember somebody had published people's ID cards and stuff like that on Facebook. Can you remember that?
I could vaguely remember this, yeah.
Yeah, there was some publishing of people's ID cards and stuff. So this is how it is, So I don't know. I don't really think anything could be done. At least we better than Dominica. Dominicans don't even have to vote with ID card. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So at least our system is a little better, but the voter dumping, I don't know how it can be solved. And to me, the electoral office, I don't know how they can do it. Because this has been, Tim, like I said, I know this has been happening for a while now. Yeah, many elections gone. So that's it.
Okay, caller.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. We 4522979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. We have another call. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Mrs. Sarah Flood Bobra. How are you, ma'am?
I'm well, thank you, Timothy. How are you?
I'm okay.
And good afternoon to you, Amanda.
Good afternoon.
Timothy, last year, the Prime Minister sent me a lawyer's letter. The Prime Minister sent me a lawyer's letter because he said that I said he was a chief promoter of racism, hatred, and division in the country. And he gave me 48 hours to apologize to him or else. I have not apologized, Timothy. I'm just thinking back on what the Prime Minister did at that Mass in Grosley, where the Archbishop spoke at length. He spoke about peace, the importance of leaders leading the way in peace, in showing peace. And I believe, and I'm paraphrasing, I believe I heard the Archbishop called on the leaders of the parties. He had invited the leadership of both parties to this special mass that he was having to open the Jubilee celebrations. And he made the subject of his homily, to a large extent, talking about peace and calling on leaders. And I believe I heard the Archbishop specifically say to the leaders, and I'm subject to correction on this, that he hoped that at the time of peace, when persons are invited to share peace with one another, that the leaders would lead the way. We heard the leader of the opposition say that on 3 occasions he offered his hand and the Prime Minister refused to shake his hand. And the Prime Minister himself didn't deny that. It was caught on TV. And the Prime Minister gave his reasons why he did not. And I'm going back to the lawyer's letter that the Prime Minister wanted me to apologize for what I said. I said, he said that I said, and I don't dispute that I said it, that he's the chief promoter of racism, hatred, and division in the country. I want to focus today on the promoter of hatred and division. What the Prime Minister did there in the Grosley Church, in addition to snubbing the Archbishop to his face, disrespecting the Archbishop to his face in the presence of all of the faithful and whoever was watching on TV, he promoted hatred and division. That is what he did. So what is going on there in this country is the Prime Minister will lie whenever he wants. He will promote hatred and division whenever he wants, and he wants nobody to say anything about it. So St. Lucians are silent. His intention is to walk over us, to be a dictator. His intention is to promote hatred and division in a country that's overrun with crime and violence. And anybody who dares to speak about it and call him out, he will send a lawyer's letter to silence you. I will not be silenced, Timothy. I will not be silenced. And today, I'm calling out the Prime Minister again. I am calling him out as the chief promoter of hatred and division in this country. I'm telling him
but
today.
we're not associating ourselves, caller Mrs. Bobron, with that particular statement. We don't identify with that. And particularly when you said that the Prime Minister can lie as he wants, meaning he can do so at will, I also do not recognize the Prime Minister as a liar, just like to state this categorically.
Right. I understand that, Timothy, and I understand your position. And I, in fact, expected you to call me out on this. So I am going to give an example of what I'm talking about. The Health and Social Security Levy that he himself came back to say when they brought it to Parliament, it was for health and social security. He himself came back to say that it was not. Okay? Even yesterday, I listened to the interview by the reporter that you played, where the Prime Minister gave the impression that the piece of land just across from Constitution Park that is supposed to be in negotiation, that supposedly the government is thinking of buying, the government has already acquired it. I have to ask, did the Prime Minister know about that? So, Timothy, I'm very careful. I am not going to make an allegation against the Prime Minister that I do not know how I intend to prove. I'm just saying, Timothy, thank you for the opportunity. This man has lost all moral authority to govern this country. And the last thing I want to say is that I am surprised that the Christian Council did not call the Prime Minister out for what he did, because he gave the example to everybody else of how to promote hatred and division in a country that's riddled with crime. The Christian Council needs to speak out about that. The Archbishop himself needs to, because he disrespected the Archbishop to his face. That's what he did. Timothy, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much for calling, ma'am. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. And I think I'm the subject of the chat room. People are taking me to task momentarily. I think, Amanda, I don't think you're ready now to give us feedback as to what's happening in the chat room. Are you?
Team, I have just a few comments.
Okay, go right ahead, please.
A comment I reads, Team Philip J. Pierre has to ask Richard when to call the elections. Someone says there, Team, I believe no St. Jude's Hospital, no calling of election. Another commentary reads, why the obsession with calling elections? It will be called when it is due. Someone says there, Guy Joseph and Bradley Felix both said that this is happening, and I believe them. The SLP has stacked Electoral with their people. Another comment reads, Shas had COVID during his time, yet he delivered. But PJP in Parliament blaming the rain. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says via WhatsApp, I'm sure it's our tax money paying for all these lawyers' letters, so no big deal to them. Shaking my head. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, I am very disappointed in you by saying you don't recognize the Prime Minister as a liar when you yourself have debunked a lot of his untruths. Untruth and lie is the same. I think we have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
And good afternoon to Amanda.
Good afternoon, caller.
Tim, I'm happy that the previous caller revived the issue of the handshake or the lack thereof at the Catholic Church in Groseley a couple of weeks ago. I don't think neither the Catholic faith nor the Christian faith made a bigger deal out of it, a big deal as it should be. Because from what I remember, this country is still predominantly Catholic. Although the figures for the last census has not been published yet, but I think we're hovering around the 61 to 62% mark as far as religion is concerned of being Catholic. So when the Archbishop, which is the head of the Catholic Church in this country, at a specific congregation, a mass to celebrate unity, asked the leader of the opposition went over to shake the hands of the sitting prime minister, and he refused to do so. And also the minister of infrastructure as well. Many people may not be aware that he also refused to shake the hands of the chairman of the UWP local branch in Castries North. So here we have two examples of two senior ministers refusing to follow the instructions of the head of the Catholic Church. And from my understanding, both of these ministers, that is their faith and their place of worship. Now, if you remember, there seems to be a trend of ministers of this government having no respect for Christianity or denominations in this country. Joachim Henry walked into the Seventh-day Adventist Church before the last elections looking for Guy Joseph. And that is his religious denomination. And the Prime Minister dismissed all of that and made Joachim Henry the Minister for Ecclesiastic Affairs. That is total disrespect. And I think that the Catholics in this country, they should ask questions of the local priest in their diocese to find out what is it, why is it they have not spoken out more loudly against what happened at Groseley a couple of weeks ago. And Tim, something else. Regarding the halls of justice, when Richard Frederick called your show, your program, I should say, last week, as a result of one of your callers alerting us to what is happening with the halls of justice and the change of location, he somehow had an argument with himself, and he still managed to lose the argument. Because what we saw published in the Gazette truly state that the land has been purchased, and there is a second edition, a second publication to that effect. So that infantile posturing by Richard Frederick, it was an act of desperation. And the country needs to wake up. St. Lucia needs to wake up and to open their eyes and to see what is happening with this government, the lies and the deceit that they are trying to pull over the eyes of the people. And in particular today, I am calling on the Catholics in this country to go out in large numbers to vote this government out, because they have disrespected your faith. They have absolutely no respect for the head of the faith in this country, and we should vote them out. That's my contribution, Tim.
Thank you so much for your contribution. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let's see there if we have a WhatsApp message to go through. And somebody says there via WhatsApp. It happened last election. 2 people vote without ID card in Vieux North. One is from Ansler Ray. That remains an allegation. Another WhatsApp message. Hi, Tim. Just a reminder. Okay. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Okay, let's see. There we have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Tim, I heard you. I listened to you, and I heard you read my post on Facebook. And
yes, I did.
My reason for posting it for such a post was very deliberate, because I've been inundated with calls with regards to the behind machinations and shenanigans that we see happening, where presently as we speak, there's a lot of voter padding. And it would be foolhardy of Mr. St. Helen to come and say that doesn't happen. That cannot happen. It does happen. Last elections, we saw a lot of this happening, where persons' ID cards were taken away because they made a declaration to support a particular candidate. Or we saw persons' ID cards were taken because they were offered monies to vote for that particular candidate. And I'm not going to, for the interest of protecting your program, I will not mention names of those politicians, but it was done. Now, Tim, this is serious. I'm hearing also that persons like myself who reside in the diaspora, that there's some kind of voter verification going on, and that they've been told that asking them, is so-and-so still reside in St. Lucia? And if the answer is no, that their names have been removed from the voters list. Now that cannot be right, Tim, because even if you live in the diaspora, but you are St. Lucian by birth, and you have a duly valid an ID card that is valid, your name should not be removed from the voters list, especially if you still maintain ties in St. Lucia, like myself, and that is worrying. What is even more worrying to me is the number of persons that I'm hearing who got citizenship through our CDI program, and that if they spend 2 months, is it 2 months or 2 weeks? I cannot remember the duration of the time.
At least 7 weeks, so that's close to 2 months.
2 months, that they will have an opportunity to vote. But we're not seeing any declaration, we're not seeing any public education from the electoral office stating those things. And I think in the interest of true democracy and fairness, the electoral office, the electoral department should have what I call a sensitization program, where they have those kinds of programs to educate people on the fairness, on the processes of registering to vote, what is happening, who are the new voters on the supplementary list, so that the political parties on both sides can satisfy themselves that the electoral process will be fair. Outside that, there'll always be doubt when it comes to the fairness and persons exercising the democratic right. And I think that is worrying. What I'm hearing on the ground with the voter pardon, particularly from the St. Lucia Labour Party, is concerning to me. And hence the reason why I took the initiative to alert the authorities, not to play politics, but to alert the authorities that, look here, in that particular constituency of Liku South, there is currently voter pardon, and you need to fix it. Because God forbid, if this trend continues, an election is called, and say Alan Shaste is unseated, God forbid, and that later on we discover that there was unfairness insofar as voter pardon, that can compromise our democracy. And we see St. Lucia prides itself in having a true democracy, although I think right now under this current Labour Party administration, there's no democracy. Our free speech have been stifled. If you dare to criticize the government, they attempt to silence you. And so we as right-thinking St. Lucians must stand up and protect what is ours, our democracy. Have a blessed day, Tim.
You too, sir. Thank you so much for calling. Let me turn my attention to Amanda. Let's find out what's happening in the chat room.
A comment here reads, it's like everybody's afraid to speak out when SLP is in power. What is going on? A NewsSpinner says St. Jude's is a non-entity for elections to be or not be called. Another comment reads, the chat room layoff team. He has to take that position to protect himself from a lawsuit by that stifling Labour government. Someone says here the Christian Council, like the National Trust and all the other groups, will remain silent because they are too afraid to speak against the current government. Commentary reads, because the bishop asks to shake hands, do you have to? That's hypocrisy at the highest level. Peace or love has to come from the heart, genuine, not because someone says to shake hands or whatever to do what they ask and later come back to the same old name calling, etc., etc. Shake my head. And NewsSpinner says a liar is someone who tells an untruth with the intention to deceive. The PM and his cabal are a bunch of... Okay. Another comment reads, Tim, you are preventing some people from doing their jobs during the work hours. They are locked down to NewsSpin and even commenting on the platform. Someone says here that sovereign wealth fund here in St. Lucia is simply a gimmick to enrich certain politicians and their friends. What's wrong with the economic fund? That's a comment from yesterday. Another comment from yesterday reads, whether we admit it or not, the real issue is that we are facing a largely uneducated electorate, and that's the root of the problem. A NewsSpinner said here, we do not have good roads or a healthcare system, but you are talking about intergenerational wealth. And another comment from yesterday reads, our government policies does not enhance intergenerational wealth. We are selling our patrimony. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Timothy Poleon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, Mr. Timothy. Good afternoon. This is Peter Chico.
Go ahead, sir.
Tim, I don't want to comment on the situation in the church. Neither do I want to comment on the situation with the halls of justice. I just want to make one simple comment on the electoral department's statement. I was the one who brought this issue out. As a matter of fact, I was at the electoral office two Fridays ago, and in discussion with the officers at the electoral office, they were asking me what was my concern as a new incoming candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I was explaining to them some of the issues that were being highlighted by my canvassers, and even when persons speak to me directly when I go out in the constituency. We finished somewhere around 4:45, and as I walked out of the house, two of my canvassers called me to inform me a situation where they went to a gentleman's house, and he did inform them that two persons came and took his ID card. They kept it for 3 days, and upon return to him, he realized that the ID card, the address on the ID card was changed. So
it was changed. It was changed from where? From
yes,
Castries East to what?
It was changed from Castries East apparently to Castries South.
Oh, okay.
So that's what they informed me. So I asked them to send me the gentleman's number, and the following Monday, I just happened to be in town, and I met up with one of the officers, and I mentioned to the officer that, look, I was going to come back, but because they was closed, so I just mentioned the situation I got from my canvassers. And the officer was telling me, oh, that couldn't happen and whatnot. So I said, okay. I called the gentleman and I spoke to him. As soon as I was done talking with the officer, I called the gentleman. And the gentleman said to me, when they came to take his ID, when he went to the electoral office and he asked them to change it back to his original address. He said to me that they informed him that that act was criminal and asked him whether or not he wanted to press charges. So he said to them, press charges. Who's going to pay for it? He said that he would have to foot the bill. So he just said to them, hello, just change my address back to the original address and call that a day. He did that. So that's what the gentleman told me. So I had a discussion with the officer, and the officer did tell me that they found some of the information, and the information at the electoral office indicated the gentleman had not signed the document for the change of address, and it is in his possession. So technically, the electoral office is saying to me that the information given to me by the gentleman is untrue. That is what they are saying to me technically. But the gentleman, I spoke to the gentleman, and this is what he said to me. So it is my intention to get some official to speak to this gentleman themselves so that they could at least get the true story. Because you know, a story always have more than one side. But that's what the gentleman told me himself. So I just wanted to point that out, based on the fact that I just heard you play a recording of the now chief electoral officer indicating that that is not possible. If the gentleman said so, I really believe this gentleman. You understand? So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you, team, for your time.
Thank you, sir. We just heard there from Mr. Peter Chico, the Networkers Party candidate for Castries East. This remains an allegation, and it should be investigated by the Electoral Department. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin. More of your calls and your WhatsApp messages coming up.
KFC has done it again. Introducing the Wow Box, the ultimate meal deal that'll have you saying wow. For just $23, you get one crispy, juicy KFC sandwich, one piece of finger-licking good chicken, a serving of hot golden fries, more flavor, more crunch, more wow, all in one box. Hurry to KFC and grab yours now. Dine in, drive-through, or order online at kfcslu.com. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucilex remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593, or send an email to customersupport@lucelec.com for assistance. Lucelec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
It's the Tile Thursday specials. The sale you've been waiting for is finally here, happening this Thursday at the Tile Gallery. Whether you're renovating your kitchen, bathroom, or updating your entire home, don't miss out on the chance to save big on high-quality tiles that will elevate any space. Mark your calendars for Tile Thursday specials, the last Thursday of every month. You can save up to 50% off on selected tiles. Located at M&C Home Depot in Sunville. Hurry in! These amazing deals are in-store only, and supplies are limited, so be sure to grab yours while you can. Remember, Tile Thursday only happens once a month, so don't miss out. Visit the Tile Gallery this Thursday. See in-store for details.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
Are you tired of going from doctor to doctor, spending time and money, yet still not getting the answers you need? Now, At La Clinique du Corps Diagnostic Center of Excellence, we bring you the latest in medical technology, our state-of-the-art radiation-free full-body MRI. With unmatched accuracy, we can detect illnesses early, giving you the answers you deserve and the treatment you need, saving lives and saving money. No doctor referral needed. Results in just 24 to 48 hours. Plus, a free consultation with a doctor to explain all your results in detail. Don't wait. Take advantage of this special offer and book your full body MRI at our Cocoville, Rodney Bay, or Castries locations. Call 451-6559 now. La Clinique du Corps. Your health is our priority.
Essie, don't tell me that tire flat again. I just changed that tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Chivi's Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Chivi's Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Chivi's Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vic Bouteille. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Chivi's Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
This is the most monitored doctor in the world, NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. The broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page, as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. Let's continue with your calls as we say hello. Good afternoon to you. You are on the air.
Tim.
Hi, good afternoon, Rick.
Blame it on my age, maybe. But I need a little clarification on what your last caller just said there. Let me see. I'll step by step.
Regarding what?
Pardon me?
Regarding what?
That ID card.
Mm-hmm.
Did the gentleman say that a constituent took his ID card to be what? Back to the ID office?
Okay, somebody took his ID card and apparently went to the Electoral department or office and changed his address.
Stop right there, please. The owner of an ID card took it to the office, right?
Not the owner. Somebody.
Somebody
not the owner. Took his ID card and left with it. And when the ID card was returned, so obviously it was a new ID card, it had a change of address.
All right. You don't think something is missing there right away?
Yes.
Somebody taking his ID card and taking it to an office, and he obviously knows that. And he hands over the card, and all the rest of it. Doesn't that sound a little bit odd?
It does. That's why I said that the Electoral department has to investigate this, because I think the only person that can undertake such an exercise would be the owner of the ID card. Have the ID card go to the Electoral department and change your address and prove that you are living now in a new location or residing in a new location.
Well, what I'm trying to establish, Tim, is how does someone get the gentleman's ID card? He knows about it, so why is he giving it to the guy in the first place? And the guy goes and takes it to the office, and quite coincidentally, somebody discovers his address has been changed. Doesn't that sound a little bit weird?
No, it doesn't, because it happens from time to time. I have witnessed, for example, people who are canvassing on behalf of a particular candidate would speak to prospective voters and ask them to hand over their ID card. I don't know why,
so
but I have witnessed it.
At the ID office, wouldn't they want to know why are you in possession of somebody else's ID card?
They ought to.
Well, that's very, very weird. Why would the office...
For me, it's not weird, Rick. It's not weird. It is something that it possibly can happen. So that's why I said Rick, it's worth investigating.
I'm not taking any point about what you chose to do, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them, as an old guy, I just need clarification because these are things I think worth talking about, even the remote possibilities of that. I think you would agree with that. But so I find it odd in two, and so what you explained the first, that a man will give his card to somebody else to, I don't know what on earth you do it for.
But it happens. I'm just saying to you, it happens. That is a frequent
but
thing.
There are people who will insist Bolums exist. So
No. But I'm telling you, Rick, I'm just telling you that I have witnessed it. I have witnessed people handing over the ID cards to canvassers. They hand the ID cards to canvassers. People are canvassing on behalf of candidates or politicians.
Wow. And then the ID card office accommodates them.
No, I don't know what they do with the ID card. I don't know what they do with the ID card after that.
In the first place, canvasser, please educate me there. I'm not familiar with this. Why would someone's ID card need to be carried to the ID office? For what purpose?
I don't know, Rick. I really don't know.
Exactly. You see, those questions that end up with I don't know, I'm not blaming you, Tim. I'm just saying I don't know either. That's why I'm calling you. I can't even see the feasibility. I am all for being very strict with people's voting rights and everything else. Extremely. I think people should go to jail seriously for any kind of electoral offenses. But I am very depressed to think that we don't only believe in Bolums, but we are prepared to just let things go. And I'm not talking about you, anybody. Well, I don't know. And then the card, the address is changed, and nobody asks the official, why, right there and then, why have you changed the address on the card I brought? Why have you interfered with the card I brought you? Though I don't know why I brought it to you, but why did you change the address? These things sound so far-fetched to me. I hope I'll be forgiven for saying so, because the impact of that can cause a lot of loss of faith in the whole process. And when it happens after the fact, we can't bring it up, later on. If you got a card to the office and it was interfered with, you voluntarily brought it there. There was no gun to your head, and they adjusted it. You did not complain. Something sounds very, as Dubois used to say, very wrong. Another thing, Tim, the handshake that wasn't. I had hoped you might have read it, but your time is the situation, I suppose. It's a short article. It occurred to me, Tim, that there were so many dubious things in that issue. For example, the Archbishop seemed to have been moved by the lack of love spread around the country, because Brother Harris has spoken about it. You and I have talked about it, that people love one another, etc., and blah, blah, blah. So I was pleasantly surprised that the Archbishop too caught the love bug, okay, and invited, from everything I learned.
But as a religious leader, don't you expect him to promote love, Rick?
Well, you're ahead of me. I expect him not only to promote love, I expect him also to denounce hate and everything likely to bring it about. Because hate, as Brother Harris taught us, lack of love Lack of love is hatred, at its extreme. Okay, the lack of love that's behind most of the crime. So if the Archbishop is concerned, has been moved because of the lack of love, to restore that love, and he thinks the best way to do it, very interestingly, is not to preach it from the mountaintops and going visiting homes and having his priest go and do a little working on the beach, but to invite two political leaders to his church in the interest of love. But then, instead of calling them, both of them individually, to join him on the altar and start the demonstration going by shaking hands, he makes a general thing. So what was the point in inviting the two leaders? In my humble opinion, well, not my humble opinion, I'm very serious about that because I smell a rat in it. If the Archbishop, who I think is a very intelligent man, is so moved, I think the greatest example to his audience, congregation, would have been to pull the two main men who are either the purveyors of hate or the purveyors of love, or in between, the two main men responsible for the lack of love and the presence of hatred. By his measure, because he invited them, he should have invited them to join him on his altar and do a little love making there, shake hands. And I doubt very much.
What you're saying there is what you're saying there, Rick, is shoulda, but he didn't. And also, maybe what he was doing is that allowing the two gentlemen on their own volition to come there and to demonstrate that despite their differences, they can operate in an environment of peace and love. They can promote this.
But Tim, if he's so concerned and he invites them, why not one step further to invite them to stand on the other side of him? We had that before, I have a picture in one of my books of Alan Louisi and George Odlum shaking hands on the field one Labor Day, and that was a major thing to see George Odlum shaking hands with Alan Louisi. We weren't going to what followed, but they did.
But somebody says in the chat room, Rick, seriously, is the Archbishop dealing with toddlers?
Well, there you go. There you go. Somebody's thinking in your chat room, because I am right now very suspicious of the Archbishop, and I would not have been if he did the most regular thing of calling the two leaders, making them responsible. That's what he brought them there for. Make them responsible for the day's love. Put them on his altar of love, and get them to shake hands so everybody can see that if the two leaders these two not loving each other leaders can shake hands, who are you not to? Follow his example. Let's go.
So you wanted him to follow the example of Bob Marley?
No, I wanted to follow the example of Alan Louisi and George, because I was ahead of Bob Marley on that one. I took a picture of
what year was that? Because I think this thing involving Manley and Siaga occurred in 1981.
Well, he beat me out. Mine was 79 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
79? But 79. So 79. No, so you beat them.
It was short. Pardon me?
Yeah. So this occurred in St. Lucia before.
79.
Yeah.
79. I'm usually ahead of them too. So I don't know what the Archbishop planned to. And as a matter of fact, the Archbishop's short-sightedness ended up in spreading more hate, because out of that incident, we've had an outpouring of hate on media, people calling shows. Even 2-3 weeks later, you're getting calls on it. 3 weeks later. That's what an impact. And the impact has nothing to do with love. It has to do with suspicion, and why didn't the man shake his hand, and shaking hand doesn't mean you love, and all that kind of stuff. But it's going on, whereas he could have done a good job. Those people in Cassocks, boy. Oh. Thank you very much.
Okay, Tim. Rick. Thank you so much. Amanda, what's happening in the chat room? I don't know if you have another update for us. Let's find out what is happening there. Amanda.
Tim, a commenter reads, I disagree with him. Your name should be removed if you do not live there. In the US, if you are issued in a state and move to another, your name is removed from the old states. And NewsSpin says we are just a very divided nation. UWP supporters cannot see anything good this government does. Similarly, we SLP supporters do not support UWP politicians or their policies. The insultive ways of the UWP politicians and supporters does not help either. Another comment reads,
I think we cannot attribute this kind of attitude to only supporters of the United Workers' Party. Likewise, I think we should lay blame at the feet of the politicians on both sides, as well as supporters from both the SLP and the UWP. Continue.
Another comment reads, the current government is doing a very good job. Someone says there, once we have bullies as our head of government, there will be no peace in St. Lucia. A commentary reads, people move from one constituency to another daily. I have lived in 3 different constituencies in the last 6 months. What is the big issue? People should be free to leave and vote wherever they please. Someone replied to this saying, your statement is a clear example of listening to respond versus listening to understand. No one said you cannot move, but once you've established residency, you should be registered to vote in that area, not an area where you lived 2 years ago.
452-2979, your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Mr. Chico is back on the line. Good afternoon to you, sir. You are on the air. Hello?
Yes, Timothy.
Yes, Mr. Chico.
Again.
Yeah.
While I was speaking to you, as soon as I hung up, a friend of mine called me again to inform me that there was a gentleman from the Castries constituency again who moved into another constituency, but he did not change his ID.
Mm-hmm.
However, he approached the parliamentary rep in search of a job in STEP, and he was informed. He was asked where he was voting, and he told the parliamentary rep. So the parliamentary rep told him, in order for him to get a STEP job, he has to change his ID to vote in his constituency.
Okay, Mr. Chico, we'll have to leave that as hearsay because we have no way of proving this, and you're making a direct allegation against the parliamentary representative, and he's not on this. He's not on the broadcast to clear his name, sir. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
No, that's fine, Tim. That's fine. However, his ID was taken as well, and the address changed. Okay. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
So the gentleman is going to send me the information, and at least I will have that information readily available to challenge whoever that say that it is not so.
All right. Thank you so much. But we have no way of proving whether what you said there is factual or not. We have another call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Timothy. How are you?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you. How about you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Let me identify myself because I'm never afraid to do that. Lionel Ellis. And I know there's a lot of talk about what went on in the Catholic Church in Grizzly on that blessed Sunday morning. And I just want to say this, that I really don't want to bother with Stephen King too much, but I just want to add that there's a lot he has said about me, and we are on different sides of the fence now, and I could say a lot about Stephen King in history. But that's not the point. The point is I want to just explain to the public of St. Lucia that I went across at the behest or the request of the Archbishop, a man that I respected. I respect people who in the church and ask people to make peace with each other. And I thought it was a good gesture. If I knew Stephen King was the type of person that he is, especially knowing that he fights to get in the front seat of the church every Sunday, and he would react that way, I would not have gone. I was brought up in a Christian family. I respect church. I went to Sunday school, and I know what it is about forgiveness. And I try to forgive every day. We'll always sin. We'll always say things about people that might be we regret. But it shocked me to see that I didn't know about the situation between the Prime Minister and our political leader till afterwards, after my event. If I had known that, I probably would have backed off from going over there. But I want to say, while Stevenson rejected my handshake, I shake the hand of Joachim Henry, Jeremiah Norbert, and regardless of whether we are on different sides of the fence, I thought from a Christian heart, and I don't go to Holy Communion every Sunday. I don't go to church every Sunday. I don't fight to go to church necessary. I pray to a supreme being that I believe in, and I ask him every day to forgive me, because I have sinned like everybody else. But it's just surprising that soon after the man refused to shake my hand and told me bluntly he will not shake my hand, that he went and stuck his tongue out to get Holy Communion. Now, somebody called me and somebody sent my clip to the Archbishop, and the Archbishop called me. He actually called me directly to speak about the matter. I won't go into too much detail, but I was somewhat disappointed when the Archbishop said there's too much healing that is required. I'm sure there's healing required in St. Lucia, but I was expecting him to say that he expects his Christian people to behave differently. I expected him to say that, which he didn't say. And I feel sorry that he didn't make that point. All he was stemming on was that there was healing to be done. And I thought that giving somebody a handshake would be at least a sign of healing. But he has to talk to Stevenson King. He has to talk to the Prime Minister. Because Stevenson King and the Prime Minister, or the Prime Minister and Stevenson King, represents everybody in St. Lucia. Not only the SLPs. Not only the SLPs. They are ministers of government that represent, and they must not forget that. Regardless of whether they support them or don't support them. They are in their capacity there, and they were invited as ministers of government. And this is the point I want to stress to the people who say that Stevenson didn't have to shake my hand and the Prime Minister didn't have to shake their hand. They are representative of all of the people of St. Lucia. And this is the type of example that they're setting for other people. So and I heard the Prime Minister say something which is unbecoming of a Prime Minister, that the last time he knew handshaking was voluntarily. If Donald Trump comes to St. Lucia today, with all the things he's doing to the people of St. Lucia and other people of the world, I'm sure that Philip J. Pierre will stretch his hand out to shake his hand. I have not done worse than what Donald Trump has done. And Stevenson King, I will not go into detail now about the history of Stevenson King. I'll leave that for another time, Tim. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And I want you all to know that I have nothing against Catholics, but I have problem about people who go to the church when the Bible says, if your brother does something to you, before you come to the altar, go and make peace with your brother. And I mentioned that to the Archbishop. I'm not afraid to say what I have to say. I've never been afraid to talk out. And Stevenson King is a shame of a minister in all respects. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for calling. Let's see if we have a WhatsApp message to go through right now. I've been ignoring you all for a while. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, Tim, I'm not buying what the gentleman from the Electoral Department said because money can buy. Okay, the same way the briefcase had links in the past. Okay, let's see there. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. The SEP program is tied to the community where it is happening. You cannot have an ID card V4 and come to work in Castries. It has nothing to do with voting. That's a method of employing persons in the community. And let me see if I have another WhatsApp message to go through. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, Tim, what is Rick's obsession with bolums? ID card tampering does occur in this country. I've witnessed it, and on one occasion I had to get it rectified for a constituent in the V4 South constituency. Somebody says there, good afternoon. The two Jamaicans shook hands on the 22nd of April, 1978. Okay, so it wasn't 81, 78. Okay, thank you so much. And another WhatsApp message. I was born and raised in Castries South. Then I moved to Choiseul, lived there for 3 years now. I'm currently living in the North Cap area, and I've never once changed a card or have a problem with it. Come to voting when it comes to where I was born and raised. Okay, let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. This WhatsApp message reads, Tim, all those things are hearsay. Why is he calling an ID card? Stop mate from calling. Stop him. He sounds like a school child running for politics. I think we need to ventilate. We need to address those issues now because we do not want to face a bigger problem down the road after the general election. And we want a process that is fair, a process that is clean and reflect the wishes of the people. So that is why I'm taking on this particular issue right now ahead of the island's next general election to alert the respective political parties, to alert the candidates, and most of all to alert the electoral department and the electoral division, because a lot of those allegations can materialize. A lot of those things can materialize. We just want to ensure that those are thoroughly investigated. And if it turns out that there are any kind of activities that are being taken that would sway the election one way or the other unfairly, it has to be addressed before we get to the polls for the next general election. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. Still to come, more of your calls, your WhatsApp messages. And somebody says there, pay the politicians well, the ministers, and so that we can hold them accountable. A statement that was made some 8 years ago.
Lucilec's remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593, or send an email to customersupport@lucilec.com for assistance. Lucilec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Here's a fun fact. In just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
St. Lucia, KFC has the crunch with our all-new strips and dip. 3 crispy, golden brown chicken strips, hot fries, a buttery biscuit, a refreshing 16-ounce Coca-Cola, all for $25. Hurry to KFC and dive into the dip life today.
Dip, dip, and dip. Your chicken strips in no dip, 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 and dip. Barbecue buffalo dip, ranch, honey mustard dip. KFC got all dips.
Order now at kfcslu.com or WhatsApp 484-0400. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Are you tired of going from doctor to doctor, spending time and money, yet still not getting the answers you need? Now, at La Clinique du Corps Diagnostic Center of Excellence, we bring you the latest in medical technology, our state-of-the-art radiation-free full-body MRI. With unmatched accuracy, we can detect illnesses early, giving you the answers you deserve and the treatment you need, saving lives and saving money. no doctor referral needed, results in just 24 to 48 hours, plus a free consultation with a doctor to explain all your results in detail. Don't wait. Take advantage of this special offer and book your full body MRI at our Cocoville, Rodney Bay, or Castries locations. Call 451-6559 now. La Clinique du Corps. Your health is our priority.
Need more days of savings? MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt Super Saturday of Savings has just been extended to Sunday. Take advantage of amazing deals. This weekend, MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt are offering you amazing discounts on selected items. MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt Super Saturday of Savings has been extended to Sunday. Don't miss out on the incredible discounts and deals. See in-store, Facebook, or www.mnchomedepot.com for more details. Terms and conditions may apply. Better value for better.
Taco Thursdays at Senior Snapper from Thursday, 13th February 2025 and every Thursday.
St. Lucia, your Thursdays just got a whole lot better. After work, there's only one place to be. Taco Thursdays at Senor Snapper Seafood Grill and Margarita Bar.
In Grizzly Town, that is Marie Therese Street.
Live DJ, fresh tacos, and island vibes. What more do you need? Tacos for just $10 plus 2-for-1 margaritas and mojitos to keep the good times flowing.
Thursdays is Taco Thursdays at Senor Snapper.
On Easter Sunday, when the sun rises in the west, so will the vibes. Rise 5 in Citrus. Rise 5 in Citrus. April 20th, Soufre Mini Stadium. From 3 p.m. featuring Imran Nerdy, Arthur, Shemi J, DYP, plus St. Lucia's biggest DJs. Plus Soca Sensation, Hyper Sounds. Hyper Sounds. Voice of the one, Hyper Sound. Tickets are $120, available at all sell outlets, Mambo's Bar in Soufre, and online at fourcircletickets.com. More at the door. Platinum sponsor, Court St. Lucia. Gold sponsors, Bank of St. Lucia, Hotel Chocolat, Hennessy, Bounty Rum, JP Chenet, and KFC. Bronze sponsor, Heineken, Power 97.9 FM. Media sponsor, Liberty Media. Rise 5 in Citrus. On Easter Sunday, we rise.
We have to come to that level of maturity where we recognize that the politician is functioning and performing an important role within the society. And there are sacrifices that are made for that particular function, and that they should be paid well and be held accountable to perform. We have to come to that level of maturity where we recognize that the politician is functioning and performing an important role within the society. And there are sacrifices that are made for that particular function, and that they should be paid well and be held accountable.
And this comment was made some 8 years ago by Mr. John Peters while he was a guest on the DBS program News Make Alive. By the way, News Make Alive is on this evening from 8:30 on DBS television. Of course, before that at 7 o'clock, I'll be on the DBS News World. Let's see if we have a call on the landline at 452-2979. Once again, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. And also, let's see if we could go through a comment via WhatsApp. But first, let's take a call. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, listeners.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, Tim, I'm calling to express my feelings about the continuing behavior and conduct of a government minister, Richard Frederick, who uses his show on a weekly basis not only to make vile-based, degrading statements about women, but also to, make racist comments as well. And what's worse is the fact that Richard Frederick, having been handpicked by the Prime Minister to be in his Prime Minister's office, the Prime Minister endorses that kind of behavior and has done nothing to curb his ministers' behavior in that manner. And the most recent example was his attack on the United Workers' Party candidate for Grosile, Mrs. Marcella Johnson. I think that again, another display of a despicable conduct on the part of a member of cabinet, of Philip Pierre's cabinet, that Philip Pierre sees nothing wrong with, has refused to condemn or to, bring his minister in line. Of course, it is not surprising given the fact that of recent time he has publicly stated that he is actually proud of that minister. He did so, and his deputy, Dr. Ernest Hiller, also expressed the fact that they are actually proud of Richard Frederick. Now, is that what, as a prime minister, leader of a country, you're going to be handpicking a minister to conduct himself in that manner, to behave in that manner, and to say publicly that you're proud of that? I mean, and what is worse to him is that as if it wasn't enough to make the degrading remarks and the vile comments that he made, he, apart from making racist comments, made some sexually explicit, inappropriate comment as well, pertaining to the lady. And, this is what St. Lucia has come to. And, I don't hear any of the women organizations speak out on this. I don't hear, the churches speak out on this, and there's no outrage on that. And so what has been happening now is that this continues to go on, and is becoming normal in our politics here in St. Lucia. And as a result of this, you have all the kind of, you have all kind of, vile behavior and comments down the line, because it is set from, the example is set from the top. And Tim, and in case you're wondering exactly what I'm talking about, I sent you a clip of the vile sexual comment made by Richard Frederick about the UWP candidate for Grosile. And of course, you played the racist comment that he made in regard to the lady on your program earlier, sometime earlier, and that is the comment where he referred to her as an honorary white. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, these are the kinds of things, that emanated from apartheid South Africa, where black people were being treated subhuman and so on. And for that to be in our government in St. Lucia, and to know that we have members of our government, our leadership, who has that kind of mentality, that kind of thinking, that is totally unacceptable, and that has to be roundly condemned from all quarters, and the comment, the sexually insultive and vile comment that was made, the sexually inappropriate comment that was made as well, that cannot be accepted. And the Prime Minister and the rest of the cabinet are in fact defining themselves, by being complicit in not making any comment, not saying anything, remaining silent when that kind of behavior is publicly displayed.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for calling. From a government man.
I would appreciate greatly, Tim, if you play the clip that I sent you.
Okay, I'll have to identify it first and to see if I could play it, and I'll have to listen to it also. So it might not be possible to play it on today's program. Thank you so much for calling. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Amanda, what is happening in the chat room?
A few comments from earlier. Tim and NewsSpin says there are so many allegations involving charges in address, etc. This is why we need a transparent and consistent process with the voter registration. Who will investigate those claims? Another comment reads, because we live in a lawless country, these things happen. Someone says there, why would you give someone your ID? To me, you need to safeguard your ID card, as this contains sensitive information about you. Commentary reads, Rick, the explanation is similar to why the briefcase exists for getting passports when there's a department for it. And NewsSpinner says there, if you cannot shake a hand willingly, you shouldn't be forced to do so, but expect to be judged by your people.
We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Timothy. How are you and Amanda today?
I'm okay, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Colin.
I'm okay. Good afternoon to you.
So I have two things to point out. First of all, with regards to the tampering with voting, I have been registered to vote since I was 19. I have never changed my address. I have never changed my ID card. I've never given anybody my ID card. Yet still I have voted in 3 past elections. And every time I have voted, my name has been found in a different polling station. That is my personal experience. So I think that that gives evidence and gives credence to the fact that there is voter tampering. Okay? Mm-hmm. Secondly, did you listen to the budget presentation yesterday, Timothy?
No, just part of it, because I was working at DBS, so I could not really pay attention to the statement or the presentation.
Well, I sat down with a pen and paper. Mm-hmm. I sat down with pen and paper and I took notes. And I am baffled by this budget presentation. Let me tell you why. So the Prime Minister in last year's budget said that he projected $33 million in tax revenue from the 2.5% levy. Again, Tim, I always ask you, if I make a mistake, please correct me. But that was what I got. So this year he's saying that he collected a surplus of $1.something million. In the new budget, he is projecting tax revenue of $40 million, which is a 7% increase from last year. But the Prime Minister wants us to believe that he's not going to raise VAT. How is that VAT revenue increase going to be possible? That's my question. The second thing is, the Prime Minister said that for the first time in St. Lucia's history, unemployment is in the single digits. And I want St. Lucians to think about these things. Single digits. Yet still, he is proposing an over $2 million increase in assistance for the poor. Now, here's what I am baffled about. If we have high employment rates, Tim, wouldn't that mean we have less poor people?
We ought to, but maybe he's making reference to the elderly. No, couldn't they be? People are retired, people are not working, people of not of working age.
But he said, let's not forget, he said that he increased payments to pensioners. Didn't he say that?
Yes, he said that, yeah.
That's what he said. So he increased payment to pensioners. These pensioners should be better able to take care of themselves. We have more people working. That means more people in different households working. So these people should be able to contribute, because in St. Lucia, what we do is we pool our resources. So we have extended families more often than not, and we help each other. That's what we do. So you're telling me that these new people that are working, they're not taking care of their family? They're not paying their bills? What are they doing with the money? Why do we need to increase assistance to the poor by $2 million? These disparities are things we need to think about. If we have more people working, if unemployment is down, then there should be a decrease in the amount of people that require assistance. Doesn't that make sense?
Sort of, but we need to ask the Prime Minister to explain this, because I'm just guessing there. It could be that you have more people who are middle age, who are not who have retired, maybe, who are not working for some reason or the other, etc. That's why the government would have to find more resources to provide assistance to those individuals. So we need explanation from the PM on this.
But Tim, let's look at the reality. Do you realize that in most of the statutory boards around the island, retirees are the ones at the head?
Yes, most of them.
Ben Emmanuel retired. He's now the CEO of OKEU. The guy at the Soufre, there's
no, Mr. Emmanuel is on the board. He chairs the board. The Millennium Heights
Well, he's
Medical
the chairman of the
Complex
board,
Yeah,
right?
not the CEO.
Right.
Mhm.
So, but I know he's getting a salary for that team.
Yeah, stipend.
He is getting a salary. Let's be honest. He's getting a salary. We have Damian Greaves, who is a retiree in charge of the same OKEU, I think, and getting a salary. We have people in the, I'm told that there's a gentleman in the SRDF who has 5 positions, apparently, let me say allegedly. Allegedly, he holds a position of HR manager, operations manager, and all others, and he's getting a salary for each post, and I am told he is a retiree. Right? So this government has been hiring retirees. So you cannot say that retirees need assistance. Plus, the retirees just got an increase in their pensions. It does not make sense, Tim. According to the young children now, the maths not mathsing. The Prime Minister says revenue is expected to be $1.6 billion. His budget is over $2 billion. He says he's not going to raise VAT. So that leaves me to conclude that the Prime Minister will be borrowing an additional $1.something billion to make up the deficit. Am I wrong to think this?
It would come from grants as well as loans, yes.
But there will be loans. Now remind us again, Tim, where do the payments for loans come from?
It comes from the Treasury. It's our money, taxpayers.
Tim. Tim. Taxes are going to be increased. And I fear that we are going to have another situation where we will be asked to make a contribution. And you remember the 2.5% levy, that was the justification. Make a contribution, sacrifice for our health and security. I fear that we are going to get another tax like that in the coming year. Thank you for your time, Tim.
But
As always, it's always a pleasure.
You think this will happen before the election, or could it happen after the election? Because if the Prime Minister is going to raise taxes, I don't anticipate that he will do so before he calls general election, because that will be committing political suicide. If it happens, maybe it's after the elections.
I think this Prime Minister is so arrogant and so out of touch with the people that he believes he has a majority no matter what he does. And we've seen him demonstrate that time and time again over his tenure. Ascending to the CCJ, they just did it. Stopping all of those capital projects. That's another thing he said, Tim. Thanks for reminding me. So the Prime Minister said that there was a surplus in some areas and a deficit in other areas. Now, anybody who was paying attention to the budget speech would realize that government spending is up. And the Prime Minister said that the surplus was because they did not implement certain capital projects. Now, capital projects are roads, infrastructure, things like that, right?
Yeah.
Health centers, whatever. They did not implement capital projects. So the money that they plan to spend for the year of infrastructure, they did not spend all of it. But he comes back to say government spending has been increased because he gave he gave all of that to the people to supposedly help them mitigate inflation and all of that. If the Prime Minister was serious about mitigating inflation, wouldn't the Prime Minister remove that 2.5% compounded tax on the people? Because it is clear that that tax has nothing to do with health and security. Why didn't, if he wanted to help people have a better standard of living, why didn't he lower the tax on the gas? Why doesn't he lower import duties for the small businesses that he claims he is supportive of, so that they can better manage their businesses, that they can do what they have to do? Again, Tim, I tell you, the maths not mathsing. And I believe wholeheartedly the Prime Minister is banking on the fact that St. Lucians do not pay attention. And I believe the Prime Minister is so arrogant because of that 15-2 that he will continue as if he's already won the election. That is my personal opinion. Nobody has to agree with me. That is what I feel personally. Okay, Tim?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing.
I just wanted...
You're saying?
I just wanted to bring those things to the public's attention. I want them to think about these things.
Okay, ma'am.
The figures that the Prime Minister told you that do not lie, if his budget estimates are correct, then that single figure unemployment rate, it does not align. Thank you very much, team.
All right, thank you so much. Our final call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, we've lost this call. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Timothy. Good afternoon.
Yes,
Timothy,
sir.
I'm so disappointed with Richard Frederick for him coming on your show to explain something that somebody who is not within government, and I don't want to call him a non-entity because I have respect for it. And I feel if he came out and he said something that Richard Frederick come on your show to explain, that should have already been explained to the public. Because if our money is going to be paying for any infrastructure that the government is undertaking, we should know beforehand that the government is going to, or they have a change of mind, especially when you have done a sod-turning ceremony. Also, I want to say to Mr. St. Helen that in a perfect world, what he says is what's supposed to happen. But we know that the victory has to be defended, and they want to win elections. These things are being done all over. Tim, a few, maybe last week or week before, in the area of Babono, I saw persons from the Electoral Department coming and roaming the streets, going through, and they say they were looking for certain persons to be able to find out their status and if their ID cards were renewed. And where I was standing for a group of persons. And if you, from Electoral Department, and you're trying to find persons in an area, you'd have come to every group and find out who's this person or is that person, do you know that person, to be able to get to know where you're going, because you're not too familiar. Although there were persons from the Babono area who were walking around with the Electoral Department, I don't know how they were able to be part of the Electoral Department group. That's above me, so I do not know. But Tim, lo and behold, I did my investigation, and I can tell you that I got a list of the names from one of the people that was working with the Electoral Department. And when I put that list, because we have started canvassing, UWP has started canvassing the Babono area, I put that list towards what we have already gathered, some of the areas. And Tim, you wouldn't believe that in my investigations, I realized that were people that they had already given work through the different programs that they have unrolled in Babono. And these are names of those persons, ensuring that these persons are on the list to make sure that these people come out and vote for UW, for SLP. And I'm saying, Tim, it is very unfair that Electoral Department is carrying out a program like that, which is supposed to be a neutral entity, in that you want to say that last election, the voter turnout was very low. So you're going to do something about it, and you're going to get more persons to come out. And some of the reasons are because you think people's ID cards are not intact. So you're trying to get the ID cards intact so they would come out and vote. And for you to have a list from the rep's office and these other persons you're trying to identify to ensure that they are on the list, Tim, I find that of very protest. And so, Mr. St. Helen, with the clip that you played today, I need to say to him, sorry, sir, I respect you as a professional, but I don't think that some of what you expect or what's supposed to happen within the Electoral Department will happen, because there are persons under who will see to it that they protect the victory in whatever way they can. Right, Tim?
Okay. Well, more work for the electoral. Yes, I'm listening to you, caller. But those allegations that people are making, including yourself, that has to be investigated by the electoral department, because those are very troubling. And those have serious implications for not only the outcome of the next general election, but also you'll have a number of candidates who will be challenging the results. And we don't to find ourselves in a situation that is akin to what happened a few years ago during elections over in Guyana. We don't want the elections to be in dispute or to be in doubt. Definitely we need to look into this.
Yes, but Tim, let me one last thing, Tim. The House of Justice, Tim. If there was, I used to sit on the DCA board, so I can tell you that for a project like that, they would have to go through DCA to get their approvals and what have you. Tim, it's at the stage where the project is, over $1 million has been spent on that project just to put the hoardings and the different things that has gone on. So now we're looking at all the money that has been spent for change of location. Who's going to pay that money that has already been spent? So we're looking at an additional sum of money just to be able to start off the other project. So $2 million have been spent on the other side, and taxpayers, we just sit down and we just say, okay, they made a mistake. Tim, before a project is on road, or the first part of the project goes down, you have to do do your checklist and make sure you have everything in place. So for them to have not done an EIA on that project to know what are the complications or what would be the hindrance in that project being a success, we the public should not be the ones paying for that team. That should be whoever is the person, whether it is the contractor that did not make sure that it was properly done, or the government, whoever. But taxpayers not supposed to be the one to foot the bill for the money that have been wasted at him, because it's clearly money that has been wasted to now know that you have to go somewhere else and buy a piece of property when we're talking about our deficits are so high and we're talking about we don't have money and all these kind of things. So now we're going to buy a site when there are sites available to government that they can use free of charge in terms of cost. And we're going to buy a piece of land from the Judah family just to put a hall of justice. It has to be in Castries, Tim. It has to be in Castries. I mean, we shoot ourselves in the foot and we're thinking that what we're doing there is a good thing. But Tim, the government need to face reality and understand that while it is not their money paying for it, but they are responsible for spending our money. That is part of their mandate, to make sure that they spend the money with the best, the little that they have, the best that they can, and be accountable for it. They talk about transparency. Tim, where's the transparency? That's just a word. That's just a word for the Labor Department. Anyway, Tim, we'll talk.
All right, thank you so much. Somebody says via WhatsApp, Tim, the caller missed where the Prime Minister stated that government rental would go up by 6%, but yet still the 2 floors at Orange Grove remains empty. And finally, somebody has been missing for a while and their relatives are very concerned. We have a photograph of that missing individual, and he is Clement Lucien, 67-year-old Clement Lucien, 5 feet 7 inches tall, last seen March the 17th of 2025 at about 4 p.m. at McDermott Library. He was wearing a light blue short pants and light green t-shirt. He is brown in complexion, short and chubby. He has a round face and black, short, natural hair. Anyone with information with regard to where this individual is, if you have spotted him, please call the Library Police at 456-3645. That's 456-3645, or dial the crime hotline at 555. That's 555. And that's the broadcast. This has been another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, and that is NewsSpin. Please join me this evening, 7 o'clock, for the DBS News World, and 8:30 Newsmaker Live on DBS Television. Goodbye.